Well, in my opinion, you know what? It's about Airbus and Boeing. It's like asking, do you really love a boy child or a girl child?
Today is a special episode on Pilot Podcast as we have a special guest on board with us today. He has been a flight instructor and he's been a reputed TEDx speaker as well as he has been a senior commander as a captain, senior captain in the renowned airline in India. Welcome, Captain, on board with us today.
Thank you,
It's
Captain
our
Neha. What an
pleasure.
overwhelming welcome for me. I'm so impressed. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, a part of this team.
It's our pleasure, and honestly, I feel a little bit overwhelmed sitting next to two captains, senior captains, and actually, matter of the fact, they both have done their CPL at almost the same time,
Yes.
and they're extremely way senior to what I am.
But we're not that old. Please.
Yeah, we are-
We're not that old at all.
Experienced, okay, not old, experienced. so
Yes.
so yeah, that said, if I make any mistakes, please forgive me. Our today's guest is exceptionally accomplished airline captain, a senior commander, former flight instructor, a TEDx speaker with highly effective communication skills
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
voice. Okay, it's an honor to have you here, Captain. Yeah.
Thank you. With extra bass.
Yeah. So here's the thing: we do these podcasts so that it could help in a way to aspiring pilots. The journey that you have lived, Captain Neha has lived, that journey has many steps that now deciding pilots could learn from. That's why we do this. So. So thank you for taking time out and making time for this podcast.
Absolutely.
Well, it's my due credits to Capt Neha and Nilay as well for this wonderful initiative. Believe it or not, it's not about what we take from the industry. It's more important what we give back to the industry. And to all the viewers, what they're doing, it's amazing. They are the live example of adorners for the industry. And I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you, Nilay, and thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's begin.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
go.
So story time. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Captain. We would really like to know your journey of this pilot training and then how you became an airline pilot.
Like, how
And-
did you decide to become an airline pilot, or how did you decide to pursue pilot career to begin with?
To begin with, I did not even get a college application. Right after my high school, I was very determined that I wanted to be a pilot. High school, did my ground training done, and then flew to the US for my flight training. But that was the most challenging part, where when I completed my pilot training and got my pilot's license, that's the time the Indian market, especially the aviation industry, was in the downhill mode.
And what was the year? That
It was in 2007.
Absolutely.
The most challenging year for many of us.
Yes.
So the job opportunities in India was the biggest task. So
Correct.
with that note, did not want to stay idle, wanted to keep myself consistent and current in flights. As we all know, being a pilot, it's not about getting a license and staying home to get a
Correct.
job. It's more
Correct.
important about how consistent are you.
Absolutely.
When was your last flight? That is the most million-dollar question been asked by
Absolutely.
most of the airliners.
Correct.
With that note, I managed to find myself a flight instructor job back in the US in the same flight school and pursued my flight instructor rating followed by airline transport pilot license.
That's
Yes, in the US. So was there for almost 4.5 years.
great. Okay.
And
amazing.
in my late teens, that was. During my early 20s, I managed to find myself an first airline job in the Far East.
Okay.
So I got hired by the Hong Kong flag carrier
Okay.
as a second officer. Amazingly well. Beautiful 777 was on board as my first aircraft as
Okay.
an airliner. With so proud, suited well,
That's great.
jazzed up with the hat, walking so proud as an early 20 boy. Again, the challenge never stopped.
Right.
They hit recession followed. Indeed, the expats are the first one to be expelled out if the country hits the recession.
Correct.
So did Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I had no other option than to exit the country. Again, the persistence and the consistency towards the job and career was most important. So managed myself to fly again as an instructor, but in a different genre. So I traveled to the UAE.
Okay.
Again, became a flight instructor in the UAE, but now not to train the civils, but to train the military pilots.
Oh, wow.
So that was quite eye-opener for me because I never knew that so much of an array is available in the flight instruction field.
Okay, okay.
So moved to the UAE. Still remember, that was on Christmas evening where the entire world is celebrating, but they were working. When I landed there for my flight check, was wondering what is even happening. But that was an amazing experience. Got hired, started training military pilots. Now totally different new uniform, wearing the overalls, jumpsuits,
correct,
training the military pilots. Had a beautiful experience for again another 4 years in the UAE, and now it's almost 8 years. Now I really wanted to get back into airline because that's the view or the lookup for many of the aspirants, including me.
Absolutely.
And fortunately, that's the time where the Indian market started picking up.
Correct.
Managed to get myself an offer in one of the Indian's premier company
Yeah.
and the budding low-cost carrier,
Correct.
which is really leading the market right now. But I chose to join the premier company.
Right.
Beautiful start on 737 fleets.
Awesome.
Went really well, career upgrades, and beautiful 3 years. Unfortunately, the airline was not able to sustain. Again, the challenge comes in. So you see, there's nowhere the stoppage of the challenge. It is
Correct,
consistently
correct.
hitting
Absolutely.
Correct.
one after the other. Now, the third challenge in my life, in the span of 8 years, hit me. Now, again, immediately a smart move was made before the closure. I managed to join another airline, again, a low-cost carrier, which was phenomenally doing well.
Right.
Everything was well, took a deep breath, thought that, okay, finally, at least let me proceed with my career. Here comes Corona.
Yeah.
Now comes the
Correct,
fourth
correct.
challenge. Now
correct.
what? So not just me, I'm one of the victim of millions of people, especially thousands of pilots. So, but again, managed to keep myself consistent in flight. So I never had a gap in flying. So
Correct.
with that note, COVID was almost in the diminishing mode. Again, another budding airline started who had an amazing forecast. So, yeah, flying happily with
Correct,
them.
correct.
That's
Great,
that's awesome. That's awesome. So
That's-
you started your Indian aviation career after coming back
Yes.
from Hong Kong and then
Then
Dubai
UAE.
as an UAE
Yeah.
as an instructor, and then in what year you chose to
So
come back?
this was in 2016, early.
Okay.
Correct,
Yeah.
Okay.
correct.
So post my high school,
Right.
in the US for a while, and then in Hong Kong for a brief note, and then to the UAE for a while, and that burnt 8 years as a
Correct,
flight
correct,
instructor.
correct,
It didn't burn actually. It was. It's like
It wasn't burnt, yeah.
I mean, they say that a mountain is moved by carrying one pebble at a time, right?
Absolutely.
So that was that probably the
True.
pebble, and that is what facilitated getting job quickly in India in an airline. In
Very true.
That's-
Absolutely.
I mean, right now you'd have thousands of hours,
Yes, yes.
some on flight instruction, and also like that small airplane flying is different.
It is.
Right?
It is. Trust me, when I joined Indian Aviation as an airline pilot,
Yeah.
and my fellow batchmates must be, they were like brand new people with 200, 250 hours of flight experience.
Correct, correct.
But I had over 7,000 hours.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Yeah, it's not to show off, but
Right.
that was the reality. But
Right.
I was thinking, to be very, very honest about it,
Yeah.
that I can ace this. But
Yeah.
believe or not, when I sat in this big plane,
Yeah.
it was totally the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
He said, man, remove your crown, keep it down. Whatever you had earlier,
Right.
it's no way related to what you're doing right now.
Right.
So those 7,000 hours, whatever I had, it was, it gave me a lot of insight, but not the leeway of taking advantage of the machine. It did
Correct,
not.
correct.
The procedures, the
Correct.
characteristics, the performance, it's totally different.
It's the way of working environment
different.
in that cockpit of multi-crew cockpit is totally different
Yeah.
than that. But still, you gained so much experience and you learned many things in while doing that flight instruction.
Yes.
And many scenarios
True.
and challenges related to that.
It's
It
right.
actually helped me to enhance my airmanship skills.
Correct.
So
That
the
is-
view of a given task was handled different. My brain was able to process in a most quicker fashion. That is the major catch. And also, I believe it helped me to improve my communication skills.
Absolutely.
That's all I felt.
So
Correct.
when I came across your reels for the first time, okay, the way you speak, I was like, he either has trained in the US or he has worked in the US for quite some time.
No,
Because-
please, I gotta stop you here. I'll tell you what. Trust me, this is how I speak. This is not a
No.
fake accent. No.
I'm not at all saying it. See, here's the thing. Like it so much happened, and I'd actually say I myself get comments. Used to get comments right after coming back from the US that, okay, why you're putting forward a fake accent? Is not that. It's like, if your whole surrounding speaks in a certain way, we adapt that way of speaking.
Very true. I
right?
agree with that.
Right.
Yes.
Mm,
And
yes.
to add on to this,
Yeah.
when you're a trainer, now, Capt Neha, you've been flying, and if a first officer asks you about any given task, we just don't express our knowledge. We break it down.
Correct.
And we get down to their level of knowledge,
Absolutely.
and we simplify things and deliver it in a way that the same content, how it should be delivered.
Correct.
So this is what I've been doing for 8 years.
Absolutely.
So anytime a question is asked to me, when I deliver it, I think in their perspective, but most of the time it feels like, dude, you have an accent. It is actually not. I'm
Captain,
trying to
I
break
really love the way you speak. I would not call it as an accent or
Yeah.
anything. It's a neutral accent. That's
Yes.
what that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's
right?
the confidence that
it's
shows
the confidence
in
and
your
the voice. Yeah. That's so. If there is anything, then I'd say that is how anyone who speaks should aspire to.
I'm really touched now.
Yeah, and anything that we speak was the purpose of it. The purpose of transmission is for the recipient to understand it, right?
Exactly.
So speak in a message or coding that is understandable to
Very
the
true.
recipient,
To the
right?
recipient, yes.
That's what it
Nobody
is.
wants to hear quantum physics
Exactly.
unless you're a scientist about
Correct.
it, right? It's simple as that.
Yeah.
If any scientists watching,
I'm
then
sorry, no offense.
Yeah. So, US, Captain, as we spoke about, like as you did speak about working as a flight instructor in the US. So, when I was in the US, it was only possible if you go on F1 visa and then get a work permit for 1 year. That was the only possibility back in, like when I went for the
Right.
training. So now that we mentioned this, many would have a question that would it be possible for me to go to the US and work as a flight instructor and continue remaining in the US? And so what is your view on that?
So, like Nilay, how you mentioned very right, F1 visa gives you the work permit.
Correct.
But we as Indians, especially as a student, I don't think even today they issue F1 visa. So
It's M1 visa.
It's M1,
M1
exactly.
visa.
So
That's
M1
what-
visa is
yeah.
a student pilot category. I
Yeah.
mean, student category
Correct.
visa.
Correct.
So you go there and enroll as a CPL, commercial pilot
Yeah.
license program.
Yeah.
But once you get it completed, now you re-enroll yourself towards ATPL program.
Correct.
So CPL program is 200 or 250 hours
Yeah.
based
Correct.
on which part,
Correct.
141 or 61.
Yeah.
So based on that, now once you complete your CPL, now you re-enroll yourself for the ATPL program.
Okay.
So when it comes to ATP program, it's a 1,500 hour program. So we're not going to spend money for 1,500 hours. So what do? We gain hours as an instructor.
Understood.
So you are legal to
Correct.
work, but not as a paid staff.
Okay.
You would be in the same category as a student, but you'll be getting a remuneration
Okay.
as a compensatory benefit.
Correct.
Because you are training students and you're equally gaining experience as well.
Okay.
Correct.
So when you're gaining experience, your hours are also building.
Right.
The same way you're gaining experience by teaching the people.
Okay.
Obviously, you're bringing revenue for the company. So
Yeah.
company
Okay.
have to compensate you. So they don't pay you a salary, but
Right.
rather they remunerate in terms as a compensation benefit, which
Okay.
may not be to the market standards, but definitely substantially lower.
Correct.
But you're still a student
Okay. Okay.
of ATP, but flight instructor in the meanwhile too.
And how long you can continue doing that? Like,
How much ever you wish to stay in the US. So I stayed for almost 4.5 years.
Okay.
So I kept on pushing my ATP program. Simple as that.
So you once you get your ATPL, which is in about 1,500 to 2,000 hours, considering all
yes,
the
yeah.
requirements. So then, what about hours after that? Once you get your ATPL, are you still a part of that ATPL program, or you are
Yes.
now an instructor, full-fledged instructor?
No, you can never be a full-fledged instructor because even as an instructor, you have two different variants, right? Flight instructor and flight instructor instrument.
yeah, CFII
Yeah,
and
CFI and
CFI.
CFII.
Yeah.
So you get your CFI and then you fly for say 1,000 hours,
Yeah.
and then you go to the next checkpoint, which is CFII, and then you burn extra another 1,500 hours, and then now you relocate
Yeah.
yourself towards ATP, burn another 1,000 hours. So that comfortably brings about 3,500 hours, and that burns about 4 years of span. What else? You know?
Oh
So we are
my God,
legal.
okay.
Right.
It's nothing doing illegal.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
you are binding to the local enforcement.
Correct.
Correct.
And you are gaining experience as well.
Correct.
So we're not trying to loot or beat around the bush.
Yeah.
We are abiding absolute the federal law,
Yeah.
and that's how it is designed.
The
for.
USCIS law, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Correct.
So we are abiding the law. It's legal to do so. Yeah.
So, speaking of which environment of flying you loved the most in general aviation?
In general aviation, training the Middle East pilots.
Okay.
Okay.
Believe it or not, it is one of the most challenging part mainly because of the communication skills.
Okay.
Conveying an information to them in a basic English, break them into 1,000 pieces and then forwarding it. That's the most challenging part.
Correct.
Okay.
Speaking to an Indian or any other nationals
Yeah.
who are in the US, it's comfortable.
Right.
The way we speak, they can comfortably understand.
Correct.
But a non-speaker,
Yeah.
we are conveying our knowledge to them
Correct.
in our language. It's the most toughest part.
Correct. Correct.
So I enjoyed it because it requires a thorough pre-flight briefing.
Correct.
It requires a thorough ground studies and also in-flight communication and post-flight briefing as well. So the entire package, you need to energize yourself 200%
Right.
than training any other nationals.
True.
So that way, I believe my mind also started processing accordingly.
Correct.
I enjoyed it, though it was a very tough task. When you enjoy your job,
Correct,
it works
correct,
well.
correct.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So I was, for my training, I was in L3 Harris, Sanford.
Yep.
Which you were in Florida?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Which part of Florida?
I was in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was close by
Very-
Sanford.
that's
Sanford,
great.
KSFB. Okay, that's where-
Precisely for a brief while I was in Kissimmee.
Oh,
Kissimmee
okay,
is right
okay,
next
yeah,
to the
yeah,
Disneyland,
yeah,
about
yeah,
8 miles
yeah,
southeast
yeah,
of
yeah,
Disneyland.
yeah.
So that's where I was based.
Yeah.
But I started in Texas, but I relocated to Florida. But
Nice.
it's an amazing place. Yes.
Right,
So
right,
L3 Harris,
right,
I
right.
very familiar about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there actually it was like it's a huge school and there were out of 500 around 150 were all other nationalities. And 350 were Chinese students who can't speak English. Okay, nothing to Chinese people. No, nothing. Okay, nothing against. Okay, different cultures. People are different. Doesn't mean they're wrong, right? Yeah. So the patience the flight instructors would have with them
Oh,
was,
yes.
and even the ATC
Yeah.
was another level. So 2 things out of this: improve communication skills.
No, I think for pilots it is a must.
Must.
It
No,
is a must,
because
yes.
we deal with many crucial factors. Even one word.
Your- yes.
We can't.
We
Tell
can't-
me one place, Captain, where we say, "I thought I want to say this."
we
can't
cannot say
afford
that.
for that.
Might be like
Yeah.
no. It has
So,
to be yes or
Straight.
no.
Yeah, it's there's no gray area allowed
yeah,
at all.
correct.
So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's yes or no. Affirmative, negative. That's that way.
Yeah.
That way it works. And even there is very less room to be if we speak a little bit philosophical about it, there is little room to be confused in the cockpit, right?
Right. Yes.
Like you're certain about most things. You're clear, communicating clearly with what you want and stuff. So, yeah, that's what it is. So I could only imagine what level of patience it would have required for you to break down. And it's like flight instruction is transferring a skill to someone, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you need a actually articulate a skill into a verbiage that is understandable to the other
Correct,
person,
correct.
right? Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so as you know, he is a Boeing 737 flying captain right now.
Max.
Max.
Yes.
Max. And she is an A320 pilot.
And A321.
Yeah. And Neo.
Yeah. I would not stand in the line of fire in between those two because I'm here with 45 hours of simulator experience on A320 and not a single hour of airplane experience as of now. Okay. So
Yeah, next year, same time, Nilay would be like, flying, it's just, I can do when I sleep. I hope, Nilay, you don't change your attitude.
a pilot can't say that, I think, ever in life. Things can go wrong, I
Yeah,
feel. Right?
very true.
Right.
Totally agree. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Now that I'm done with my type rating, but I'll assume that I haven't, okay? You go ahead and tell me why should I choose A320 type rating instead of a 737?
I think he's putting us in trouble now.
And you tell me why should I choose 737 instead of A320? Because that's the question many of the CPL holders would have right now.
Yeah, very
so
true.
I'll pretend to be that CPL holder and. So, what thoughts you have? This is no battle,
So
or
that,
maybe
this is
it
actually
is.
a very good role play.
Yeah.
Honestly, consider Nilay as you people.
Yeah.
We both pretty much started the career almost in the
Around
same time,
yes.
and we are right now fairly on the same level in our career progression too.
Yeah.
In airline experience, I was not a flight instructor.
No,
I
yeah,
was a
I
ground
mean,
instructor
where we are,
and you were flight instructor in
well-
those 8 years' time when we were not flying in an airline.
No, but
So,
right now, the rank-wise, we are more or less on the same.
On the
I don't
same,
think
yeah.
there's any variation, but in two different market beasts,
Yeah.
the 7.3s and 320s. So I'd really like to hear, Captain Neha, what is your view on the role play of Nilay?
She is, yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, she's going to support 320, undoubtedly.
She is like a soaked sponge in A320
Airbus.
indoctrination.
By the way, she got to be studious about it. Airbus pilots are always good in books, for sure.
Well, that's what she was doing for 8 years.
Yeah.
So when Captain Dinesh was doing flight instruction, that's when Captain Neha was doing ground instruction
Ground.
at Okay, yeah,
Yes.
let's go.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
the CPL holder. Yeah, ma'am, which
Okay.
type rating should I do? 737 or A320?
Okay, since in due respect, because you are our guest today,
Captain,
I
please.
would
There's nothing, we are
like
just pilots, so
you
please.
you to go ahead first and then talk
Yeah.
about your
Captain,
opinion.
you
Then
are
I
throwing
will
the
go-
ball in my
Okay.
Assume the other person is not there and go ahead
Okay.
about
Yeah,
it.
please.
Because this is not taken personally by
No, I
anyone.
will not take it personally.
Yeah,
Say if
yeah.
Boeing is bad, I'll still be okay with it. Don't worry.
Maybe a little bit.
Well, I'm not representing Boeing though.
Yeah, got
Personal
it.
opinions, absolutely
All
welcomed. Yes.
All right. Okay. If you want it to be less invasive, then go about the strength of a 320 type rating. Yeah.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I have always been on Airbus 320 and Captain has always been on Boeing 737.
never touched
Yeah,
airplane,
so, in my opinion, the aircraft that you start with, you definitely have that love for that aircraft.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the top of it, you would always look for good things in that aircraft, definitely. Airbus is great. I do love Airbus
Yeah.
because in every system you talk about,
Yeah.
there is a computer.
Yeah.
Every system, if you, whether you talk about hydraulic system, you talk about fire extinguishing system, or you talk about air conditioning system, ventilation system, or flight control system for that matter,
Yeah.
which fly by wire, which everyone is aware of. So the flight computers
Yeah.
make things much easier for pilots' job
Yeah.
to perform in the cockpit,
Yeah.
and then to delegate the task and workload in a optimum manner,
Right.
so that even if in my opinion, even if there are certain conditions like you're flying at night, you have challenging conditions,
Right.
you do not have to look after
Right.
a very basic things of the aircraft
Yeah.
systems,
Yeah.
as well as the working of the aircraft. So
Yeah.
that is the reason, in my opinion, Airbus is one thing. This is one factor. So in controlling the aircraft also, it is much more smoother, and it is not quite, you don't feel that it is,
Right.
even if you control it little, she will easily be controlled by,
Yeah.
1 degree, 2 degree here and there.
And
So
if you,
there
if
are
you
a lot
over
of
control, then there will be a tap on the wrist by the bus, right?
Oh, is it? I don't know. Really?
Yes.
no,
No, but I'm sure you'll get a lot of passenger compliments. What a smooth butter landing. And in the other way around, passenger like, he doesn't know how to land, I think.
So there have been a lot of reels like how a Boeing pilot controls
Yes, it is.
the aircraft and how Airbus pilot controls.
Yeah, it
So
flies
that is
different than a
one.
normal airplane,
Yes.
right?
So in Airbus, even if like earlier now because of certain other issues, they have reduced this, but any landing above 1.3 G, they used to consider it as a hard or firm.
Wow.
Okay, so we used to
We are
always
2.1
do it.
Gs, huh?
We used to always do it like,
Right.
no, yeah, that is a 2.2 plus is a limit actually, but optimum, this is a G landing, which
Okay.
should have been there. But now because of that, in attempting that smoother landing, it has happened that some pilots have ended up doing a tail strike on 321 and all because of that.
No, let's not go there.
Ha, ha,
Yeah.
ha.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But because of that,
Yeah.
that G limit is like removed. Okay. So basically, that is, so landings, if you
So
consider
do you
them,
agree that if a Boeing lands smooth, like 737 lands smoother, then it is more of a pilot skill than the
It is.
aircraft itself?
it is.
No, trust me, I just. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not putting any.
Okay.
Yeah. So this
Now,
is.
I'll go ahead.
And considering the number of aircrafts that are available in the market, in Indian market today.
Yeah. Yeah,
the-
let's start with flying. So I'll get his perspective about flying.
Huh.
Okay, then we'll go about like that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So, Captain, how is it
Well-
like to fly the 737?
Well, in my opinion, you know
Yeah,
what? It's about Airbus and Boeing.
Yeah.
It's like asking, do you really love a boy child or a girl child? It has its own charm. A boy baby has its own charm. A girl baby has its own charm. So there's no biased factor.
Correct.
But obviously, both can't be the same either.
Correct.
So Airbus, I love a lot of things in Airbus in terms of your automation.
Right.
It's more pilot-friendly aircraft and more forgiving aircraft. So, but in the other hand, here, Boeing is more of a robust model where you really have
Yeah.
to enhance your flight skills and know the game well and be on top of the game. That is something which the aircraft demands.
Correct.
You
Correct.
screw, you screw. It's not my problem. That's what the
No.
plane's saying. So exactly, the point is when it comes to safety standards, I believe both are matching and competing to the
Absolutely.
best level. But when it comes to the joy of flying, I feel since I'm a Boeing pilot and I've never been on 320 fleets or Airbus fleets, obviously that's my native.
Yeah.
Right.
The native people
Yeah.
would say the native is the best,
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
You put me in the best downtown ever, I would still say
Correct.
Coimbatore is the best.
Correct.
Right.
That's my heaven.
Right.
So that answers, I believe, your
Yes.
question.
Absolutely,
Yes.
that was an amazing analogy. The girl child and the boy child. Yeah, it really is a very understandable analogy because everything about like, I mean, okay, I'm getting out of my role of non-typewriter person. Everything about the airplane is so delicate
It
about
is.
Airbus, like small inputs, everything. And if you look at a Boeing pilot flying, there are pretty much inputs like
Yeah.
significant inputs
It does.
into everything. And also there it has like different modes in which the Airbus behaves differently, like the flare mode should fly differently, the different laws should fly differently. You're giving the same inputs, she is reacting in different
Yeah.
ways in different modes. So yeah, I mean, that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. So whatever,
Yes.
if you prefer in a girl child or
A baby's a baby.
yeah,
Oh, that's
absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Now something related to basically a CPL holder looking for type rating now. What would be the points that you would look at this point of, because I know you both have like been in that phase of seeking job and at the same time preparing yourself in the best way possible for the opportunity whenever it knocks, right? So you have been through that. So in this phase at CPL holder stage, what would be the points of decision that you would consider whether a person should go for A320 or A737?
See, in my perspective, this is what, if I'm a trainee right now and I want to choose my fleet, should I do my 737s or a Boeing or Airbus?
Yeah.
It's very simple. It's all about supply and demand.
Correct.
Okay. A pilot is a pilot, no matter which machine he flies.
Yeah.
He'll end of the day enjoy it. On that note, if I want to go for a workout, I don't want to have a burger and go. You know, I want to eat something which is going to help me out for my workout. So the purpose is going to be very, very clear and evident about it. In today's industry, you have to have a thorough analysis of what is the market need. Is the market need is Boeing or Airbus? If Boeing, then how much for how long? And what would be my scope of getting recruited and how fast the recruitment that it may happen for me. I do not want to choose an aircraft because I like it and wait for the market to hire me. I wouldn't say that would be a wiser idea.
Absolutely.
So earlier, if you look into it, Airbus was definitely in lead. You know, with having more number of aircrafts in India is still Airbus. But in the last few years, especially the last year and a half or two, the Boeing market is equally patching the market back, especially after the MAX return. So the hiring capacity has also increased for Boeing. So look at the employers first. Who is having more number of recruitment on which fleet? And I would recommend people to go choose that. In today's market, definitely the country's largest carrier is having A320, but the recruitment is going in a given consistent pace. But a 737 market grasping power has increased tremendously.
Correct.
So for this year or till the next financial year, till 2024, end of the 2024 financial year, I would say the Boeing market, especially in terms of recruitment, is going to be a more judiciously high than Airbus. It doesn't mean Airbus not going to hire.
Yeah.
They are consistent. They have certain pace of recruitment. It is going on. But the Boeing recruitment pace has increased. So the rate is more in Boeing.
Correct.
So to be wiser for the next 2 years, that's till the end of 2024 financial year, I would say Boeing market is more. It's not me as an expert. That's what the world leading CEOs, airline CEOs have predicted.
Correct.
That's a really nice zoomed out perspective on the whole thing.
Because I'm going to
Correct.
invest money. I want to make sure I want to get hired and I want to take the money back as a pay.
Correct,
Exactly.
I don't want to throw the money and stay home.
Exactly.
So
Correct.
it's
And
business.
type,
end of
and
the day.
type rating lapses, right? Like
Exactly.
and it's expensive
It's
to
very
renew it.
expensive,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really nice. Yeah.
Now still the validity they have increased up to 7 years, so it is a good
So
thing.
how many checks you need to do if 6 months
So there
pass
is a
by
whole
or 1 year
table
pass?
after 6 months, one
Okay.
after 12
it's
months,
12,
two, yeah.
24, 36. Is a huge-
That was earlier.
Okay, now it's
it is
changed.
up to 7 years. They
Gotta
have staggered.
open the car
yeah.
now and read it. You see, this is an important thing. Pilots should always be learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So it was earlier, yes, the way you said, 12,
Okay.
24, 36. Now it is up to 7 years.
7 years.
okay.
Great.
Right. Yeah. Good. And also, like right now, as in my small perspective, it would be the airlines having A320 right now have cadet pilot programs.
Correct.
So they have a continuous flow of pilots.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, no specific airlines are mentioning here. On the contrary, 737 airlines do not have a cadet pilot program. So, yeah, 737 has more opportunity after CPL, completion of CPL. Probably the airlines with 737 would have cadet pilot programs in future, but right now 737 type rating seems like a good option. She would deny, but
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
No, yeah,
No,
she has all the right.
Now it is now, as Captain said,
No,
the
yeah,
market is
yeah.
growing
Yeah,
compared to what it was before.
Earlier, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because at the time of Max and then COVID, things
Yeah.
were a bit on a
Absolutely.
downside for
On a downside,
737,
yes,
but now it is picking up. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and these numbers keep on changing. So do your thorough study and research about doing this. Just don't blame either of us that you told me to to
That's what we always say. In my opinion.
In my opinion.
My opinion is not documented anywhere.
Exactly.
What my brain say and what my experience say, we share it. It's a pure knowledge sharing
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yes.
Believe or
absolutely.
not, Captain, you tell us, were there any people even to share these sort of knowledges by then?
Very
Google
very-
was itself a
yeah,
challenge.
yeah.
You got to go to a browsing center.
Correct.
And internet is a challenge. And
Correct.
there were no people.
Yeah, in your times, the smartest phone was Nokia 5800.
Yes.
We're not old again. I'm emphasizing we are not old.
Yes.
Well, I'm only 3 years younger to you, so
No, the way you portray it makes people like, he's a Nokia type.
no. The point when I started my pilot training in 28. Y'all started at 18, right?
Yeah, 17.
17, 18. So,
Pilot training.
yeah, my
You
pilot
started
training.
2017, 18.
18.
18.
Yeah.
We
so,
started in
So people
2000.
can calculate their age very comfortably.
So 19 is when I went for
Mm-hmm.
went for flying, my flying, and yeah, I was 27 or 28 then. But yeah, you had started early, so I'm not saying
You
you're
look very
old.
young for your age. Trust me, I never knew your age. I was thinking you must be in your mid-20s or early 20s, but
I'm 31.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yes. So, Captain, we just posted a
Yes.
story on Instagram. If they have any questions for you,
I'd love
Okay.
to
Yeah.
answer. Yes, please.
yeah,
Yes.
you were saying something. Sorry, did I interrupt?
No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Actually, I gave a very short notice. At 5:15, I dropped a message to
Yes, yes,
this
yes.
morning, 5:15,
Right.
to Capt. Neha that I'm arriving into Mumbai. So shall we have this plan? She was like, yes.
Yeah.
Gladly you have your day off as well.
Yes,
I was
yes.
doubtful about that. But
yeah, we have a day off today, tomorrow. So
Great.
So we quickly asked our followers, whom we consider as part of this podcast. So because we make this for you all, right?
Exactly.
That's what it is. So, few quick questions. People have this, as we spoke about cadet pilot program and conventional pathway. What would be your opinion about cadet versus conventional?
See, cadet and conventional are two pathways to reach a destination.
Yeah.
It's neither yes or no or right or wrong. It's just a matter of analysis of the market again.
Right.
So, like, if we rewind ourselves 4 years ago, the conventional program was really, really demanding time to get employed.
correct.
Wherein, after investment, you got to wait and go for the screening process, even to get an invitation for
Correct.
an interview or a screening process was a big challenge.
Correct.
But in the cadet program, we get the letter of intent, LOI. That gives a sense of relief that at least I am partially hired, subjected to a lot of other conditions.
yeah.
But that sense of relief was much better.
Absolutely.
Now again, the scenario is not the same as how it was. Now the scenario has changed totally, where the people, especially the airlines in Indian market, are into the absorbent mode.
Correct.
They want pilots with a pilot license. This is how
Correct.
it was back in 2004, 5, 6.
Correct.
You know, I was in my school days, and that is the time I was like, wow, pilots are getting hired. Just get your license, and you get an interview call the very
Correct.
same week or so.
Correct.
But me completing my school and then getting the training, and I see it was the other way around.
Absolutely, yes. I was
Right.
in the same boat. Yes.
By then, the connectivity wasn't there as well.
Absolutely, Yes.
All we see is here some pilot,
Correct,
here there. Oh
correct,
my God, he
correct.
finished his pilot license and he got hired in a week
Correct,
and a
correct,
month,
correct,
max
correct.
to max 10 days. So in that note, when I came in, it was the other way around. I completed my
Absolutely.
pilot license and people were like, who are you? Why do you want a job now? We have X's, so we'll call you back later. So there was a lot of rejections happening. So by then, there was no concept of cadet pilots. Well, so we are evolving.
Correct.
So from no cadet pilot program
Yeah.
to a condition where the cadet pilot program was giving a fairly a job assurance, and now the third evolution is happening right now, where you are in cadet pilot program is fine. If you're in conventional program, you're still fair about it.
Correct.
So I would say today's market. Let's talk about from now to next 4 years.
Yeah.
I would say conventional will be equally powerful.
Absolutely.
Like this is an extract
Yeah.
from top leading airline CEOs, where during COVID's, this was released in YouTube as well as a reference,
Okay.
when people were getting fired and we were barely flying, industries were going down, full lockdowns. At that point, the CEOs, with the amazing analysis, they very, very solidly said by 2022, second quarter, we would restore our fleet size. And that was like a jaw-dropping point. Under what basis? People are not walking out of the
Yeah.
house. And you say second quarter of 2022, we would restore the fleet size.
Right.
That was totally unbelievable for me.
Yeah.
But those people with the big brains as CEOs, they are market leaders. They can think beyond our perspective. And they nailed it.
Right.
Name an airline which was not okay, unless it was intentional.
Correct.
true.
Pretty much, you know, all the top
Absolutely.
leading airlines, also the mediocre airlines, they bounced back.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
they said by 2023 beginning, we would be in the fleet expansion mode.
Right.
That was even more unrealistic for me. I was like, in what? And when was this given? In 2020 and 21.
Yeah.
Where the COVID was at its
At
peak.
its peak, yes.
They were very solidly disclosing
True.
on to the media, and which was totally unbelievable.
Yeah, it
And-
did sound delusional.
yeah. I was like, I was just laughing, or I thought probably it's a promotional activity.
Right.
But when they are dumping trillions of dollars,
Yeah.
they don't take a chance in that. So they have a thorough analysis of what is it, of world politics, and many more factors which you and me don't
Yeah,
involve.
true.
That involves too much of business in it.
True.
So with that
Correct.
note, now things are happening well. So the same way, if you look into the Indian industry, especially in aviation in India, it's a 4-year cycle.
Yeah.
There's always a 4 year of rapid expansion.
Absolutely.
These are the
I totally
exact
agree.
words.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Yeah,
because
go
that's my experience, and that's
Yes,
the reality.
absolutely.
4 years of amazing expansion, and then it saturates. If the country does well, it retains there. If not, 4 years of downhill.
Correct. Absolutely.
And then again, another 4-year cycle happens. So right now, if we look into our zone, we are in the upgrowth path,
Correct.
where it kicked
correct.
in end of 2022.
Absolutely.
So we are in the expansion mode. So let's say we are in 2023.
Yeah.
Count another 3 years from now. So 1 year has already gone past.
Yeah.
So 3 years, the expansion is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
As per the
Yeah.
industry experts, not
Correct,
by me.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so,
Correct. Absolutely.
so people who are willing to invest in this industry, especially to be a pilots,
True.
I would say conventional or cadet,
Yeah.
both are going to be equally profitable.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
the idea is, the next 3 years, the door is going to close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ensure
That you
the
get-
licensing and you get employed latest by 2027, last quarter.
True. True.
So
True.
that's my view of
That's
it.
that's
Yeah.
a really good view, and that's honestly that's exactly how
Yeah.
we
We
say,
also interpreted.
yeah, because the point is the good times don't last forever, neither do the bad times, right?
Exactly.
It's pretty much that way, and you put it so well together, like
Yeah.
great. Okay, yep. The next question is from Revant Kumar and says, "What is your annual income?" I'm not asking you. I can show you on Instagram. That's the.
But you know what? At times I do see some people do post the space slips. I feel like laughing.
Yeah.
It's too personal about it. But it is also, on the other end, it's very genuine to know,
Yeah.
hey, I'm investing over a crore, 1 CR and
Correct.
above for the training, including
Correct.
typewriting and blah, blah, blah.
Correct.
So
You
what is
don't
my,
have to answer it. Okay.
no, we can answer it, but we can give them a rough figure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if your investment is about 1 CR
Yeah.
to become an airline pilot in today's date, a rough figure again.
Yeah.
I would say you can recover in 3 years max.
Yeah.
But and again, the payment is purely based on the ranks. And if you're in a senior captain post, like yeah, we are taxpayers for sure. The income source are in 7 digits. Simple as that. Okay,
Yes.
7-digit figure every month. So you can multiply that for your annual income or so. We're not show offs, but that's the reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
that's a proper media trained answer.
No, that's true, right?
That's how it should
We
be.
pay tax, and we pay filthy tax.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking
like,
at my tax, I cry, you know.
Yeah, seriously. Like every month, that is.
Is a
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
Yeah. Next question is from Ijaz Muhammad. Says, do you suggest typewriting before the airline interview or afterwards?
Captain, would you like to respond? No,
Please go ahead.
Please go
No,
ahead.
you
Matter
go.
of the fact, like, it's you are the guest. So
Yeah.
your
Oh, okay.
perspective on your perspective
Okay.
on yeah.
I got my typewriting done after hiring,
Yeah.
post hiring. But having said so, again, that is time specific.
Right.
When I got an airline, the scenarios were different. Right now, the scenarios are different. In future, it's going to be totally different.
Right.
Again, to be a pilot, we got to be very analytical about what's happening right now in this cycle. So I would personally recommend get your typewriting done.
Yeah.
So that the chances of hiring is going to be much more faster and easier. Because simple as that, you beat the queue.
All right.
But then
Right.
the typewritten queue itself is on a
It's
long
long.
zone, I
Long.
guess. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the idea.
Absolutely. Sadia asks, I'm pursuing my BTech third year. Can I pursue pilot training after engineering?
Okay. It's a very normal question. A lot of people have in mind that should I complete my graduation before my pilot training? Will my graduation assist in getting recruited or hired, or is it a must? The straightforward answer, the regulator doesn't require any graduation in India. We're talking about
Correct.
Indian market.
Correct.
Neither the airline, I don't think any of the airline asks for graduation in India. So, to answer this question straight, graduation is not a mandate. But if you're willing for graduation, it can support you, but in a very minimalistic zone. It's not going to be a major catch of being recruited, neither it's going to support you in your career progression.
Correct.
So I would personally say, don't waste your time and money in graduation, because when the market is open and it's raising up
Correct.
so high, let's not utilize the time in graduation. Instead, use the time for your flight training and get your license and get hired first.
Correct.
Ramsey, we can do our graduation in distance program as well.
Absolutely.
So that's because I'm not a graduate till.
Yes,
But if someone is into middle of their graduation, then
Okay.
then probably they should finish or yeah.
Well, again, the market scenario, I would be judicious about it. Do I have to look for 1 year of wastage and the time, or should I trade that with the competition of closing market?
absolutely.
So I know the market is going to
Yeah.
not be the same forever. There is a
Correct.
tentative timeline. What we
Correct,
predict
correct.
is end of 2027.
Correct.
If I still want to continue my graduation, for what joy? I don't see the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I know it's going to be pretty pricky that I've already spent so much time
Right.
of 2 years or 1 year, or even I'm on my final year semester whatsoever.
Yeah.
every day counts.
Yeah.
Correct,
I would say
correct,
every day you're
correct.
just going to the college.
True.
It's of no purpose to be solved.
Correct.
Right. Because ultimately, if the person wants to become a pilot, then graduation is not adding actually
Nothing at all.
anything
Nothing
to
at all.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Correct.
again, it's a human tendency and psychology kind of. It's called what? Fallacy of sunk cost.
Oh, yeah.
Sunk cost fallacy. So
There is no end to
Yeah.
thought of uncertainty.
True.
What if I
Yeah.
lose a job? Okay,
True.
if you lose a job, are you going to start yourself from a basic IT graduate or a basic engineering? I mean,
Correct,
we
correct,
cannot.
correct,
so
correct.
once you reach to a certain point, you got to
Yeah.
excel from there on.
yeah.
So for
Absolutely.
me, graduation is out of my point.
Yeah.
Correct.
True.
Okay, so Radhana Gupta has asked this question:
Mhm.
How to arrange funds, or how did you arrange funds for your pilot training?
Okay, my father was my sponsor, to be honest, because if you look into it back then,
Right.
the banks were not even recognizing this as a study.
Correct.
There were no banks giving any loans,
Right.
and should there be a loan as well, I would highly recommend try to liquidate funds, whatever in terms of property or materials you have, and then invest in it, because the
Correct.
bank loans for this big amount, the interest, it keeps
Right.
accumulating.
Correct.
And Captain, if you agree, we do not have a defined date of employment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We invest. The delay might be a month or 2 or even 6 months.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what are we going to do expecting the pay and then repay, and you don't get the pay on time? Unless your
correct.
employment is confirmed, you're not getting your remuneration.
Correct.
But the stress of payment, EMI, every month, it's adding up, and you won't be able to focus on your books, neither on your studies. Rather, it's an added factor. So my opinion would be try to be self-sponsoring yourself as much as you can. If at all you want to go for the loan, keep that loan amount minimalistic so that the stress is also lesser.
Absolutely.
That's what my opinion would be.
Correct. And if it is a cadet pilot program, then you can kind of anticipate the date of recruitment, like
Yes.
little bit in
Yes,
advance,
yes,
a little bit,
yes.
like more certainty than
Yes,
conventional
agreed.
pathway. Still, like if things like COVID happens, then it's a straight
Oh,
up
yeah.
1.5
Yeah,
to 2
yeah.
years delay, be it
Correct,
cadet
correct.
pilot program or anything.
Straight, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
But optimistically,
Yeah.
what you say is correct. If it's a cadet pilot program, you definitely have about 90% chance of your graduation date
Correct.
and the day you're going to get employed, because
Correct.
leading airlines in the country, they have very well-defined training structures.
Correct.
But in the other hand of conventional program, it's purely on your luck and demand.
Absolutely. And plus,
Yeah, it's like cadet pilot program is also good, no doubt about it. It's trading the opportunity to save extra 50 lakh rupees for certain security. It's
Correct.
basically trading opportunity to security. That's what it is,
still,
in my opinion. Yeah. You were
Sorry.
saying. Go ahead.
Still, the screening process has to be followed. So
Yes,
there
that's correct,
is
yeah.
a written exam, there is a psychometry, group discussion.
Undoubtedly,
Yeah,
like
the
what you said,
screening
Captain,
process is
the
still there.
screening process remains the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we conclude this podcast now, it's about time. What would be your message to the aspiring pilots?
Aspiring pilots, I'm not here to advocate anything. I'm just sharing my knowledge and my experience. Achieve your target with the confidence and have the clarity towards it. There's n number of people in this world who might think I am going to do, but how you're going to do, I don't know. So we always need to have a plan to achieve our destination. So have the confidence, but make sure you do the groundwork so that you have the clarity in the pathways that you're going to track through. And keep self-assessing yourself that are you in the right track or not. If the tick mark is happening, you are in the right track and you're going to get into your destination with the colorful lights.
Absolutely. Very good.
All
Very
right,
nice.
that's amazing to
Yes.
have an
Yep.
It
Absolutely.
was-
Yeah. All right. Thank
great.
you for joining. And if you have stayed until now, thank you for your attention. Yeah, that's all for today's podcast. And if you have any questions to Captain Dinesh, you can reach out to him on his Instagram. Captain, your Instagram is?
Is Dinesh.27. My name, Dinesh.27 is my Instagram handle.
Go
Great.
check out. And yeah, see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining.
And
Thank-
pilots are just plain people, right?
Yes.
Let's conclude. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining in.
space, like the other